talk to our times. Another Marxist Confessions special. Closer to 40 than 30 years ago, when I was in Cambridge, just after the Boris Johnson type of generation was in Oxford, but with very similar sorts of people. Coming as I did from an academic background, I was always shocked by how much the incredibly wealthy, the Bullingdon Club, or in Cambridge, Pitt Club, kids, actively hated the poor. Despised is a better word. And I always wondered why. Why? After all, they had all the privilege and all the power and all the money. Why did they hate the people who had nothing and think they had it coming so very, very much? I can remember endless debates, Thatcher debates in the Union, where a group who actually ran the Union would endlessly cheer when the poor were disadvantaged or when new taxes were in them. It was curious. And politically, I understand it. Politically, hate is incandescent. So actually, hating the people who support you makes political sense, as long as you can code that hate and encourage them to pass it down. So outfits like Reform, or here in France, the RN, Pen, and Trump, are very, very good at reforming the language of hate so that racism becomes merely about positive discrimination, and readdressing the balance for years and years of imperialism becomes just another form of racism. They're good then, because they have a lot of practice, because they hate their supporters, at handing down hatred. That explains why politically it works. While bullies like Farage, who is like the failed bully in a public school, I used to meet lots of people like that, in English public schools, when a bully was not good at rugby, and when they suddenly realised they weren't as clever as everybody else, they turned into Farage. And they're always filled with twisted hate, and they're quite good at passing it on. And so politically it makes sense. But why en masse? Why do things like Boris Johnson hate the poor so very much, when the poor will laugh at his jokes? Well, there are, of course, very good structural reasons, based ultimately in Marx, and I will come back to Marx in a moment, on why the rich hate the poor. You see, for my money, most of those rich kids in Cambridge who had gone to various schools were very much like turtles on a post. They had no reason to be rich and powerful, no reason to be influential, no explanation for why they were privileged and the rest were not. And that very insecurity, the very insecurity that feeling that this is all arbitrary breeds, makes you have to view those who are less than you, those who are not fortunate, not with pity or kindness, but something like despite. Because in despising them, you justify your own privilege, your own wealth. Psychologically, that makes sense. But it doesn't really explain something else, which is why the rich are so jealous of their rights. I mean, let's take the example. Here in France, there's the wealth tax proposed. Now, Macron, let's get the hang of, get the measure of this. Macron is prepared to put the entire Fifth Republic in danger in order to not pass a wealth tax. So he's prepared to let Parliament fall, I think, and yet another general election, which would easily put the Fifth Republic in danger, rather than have a tax that isn't particularly great, that will raise enough money to help pay for a little bit of healthcare in France, and for the poor to retire a little bit earlier. But you're not talking revolutionary socialism here. You're really not. And yet the wealthy behave like anything is the enemy at the gates. Why? Why do they hate reform? I don't mean the party, I mean actual reform. So very, very much. It's a complicated question. I think to start the explanation, you do have to start with Marx and the concept of value. You see, in a good Marxist analysis, there is a huge problem with, the value that capitalism extracts, the profit, comes in a disparity between what a worker is paid and how the capitalist uses his labour. The worker is paid, an unskilled worker is paid to be kept alive and nothing more. While the capitalist, of course, plugs them into machines where they become living cogs and can manufacture huge amounts from their relatively straightforward labour. The pain then that they suffer, sacrificing the days of their lives, not being given anything beyond their survival rations, becomes the motor for profit in capitalism. If you like, capitalism is a system that manufactures scarcity in the middle of plenty as a way of creating value. Because it is in the suffering of those that produce the goods that the actual concept of value and profit that makes the entire system work is orchestrated. Okay? So capitalism becomes then a system of pain. And that is absolutely still true. In any system like ours with mass mechanization, always, somewhere in the system, there are people who are being treated as cogs and never being given enough. After all, you don't even need to give them enough to any one individual to live. All you have to do is ensure that they breed and you've got a workforce. You can see how this system is filled with despite. And that is absolutely true. But also, it opens up one of the truths about money in the world. And here I might be slipping slightly from Marx. Marx was writing at the time of the gold standard, and is a political economist, not an economist. And I'm going to go a little bit more towards Keynes. But the analysis is still, I would probably argue, fairly in the orbit of Marx. You see, if you asked me what money is based on, what is its value? Taking that cue from Marx, that profit comes from pain, surely the value of money is defined by pain. What is it that makes the pound matter, or the euro matter, or the dollar matter? Why is it valuable? Because you know that if you don't have it, a whole different life opens out to you, a life of pain. The value, then, is created through the suffering of the poor. It's why governments kind of have hatred built into them. Their first response, like here in France, and certainly in Britain for God knows how many years, when there's a financial crisis, it's not to tax the rich. It really isn't. It's to tax the poor. While the first response of a budget deficit in Britain is to take away mobility from the differently abled. What? Why? And why is that even popular? The reason, of course, is because we're very used to the idea that value, the value of a country's currency in Britain's case, and also in France's, comes from how much you make the poor suffer. Now, it doesn't have to be like that. And this is the thing the rich kind of get. There have been other systems. There's no reason why value has to come from making the poor suffer. After the Second World War, on the contrary, the people who suffered were the wealthy aristocrats. In Britain, this is the case, where the Labour Party policies were subsidised by creating an inheritance tax that destroyed the great estates and effectively allowed you to raise the money to build the welfare state. You don't have to make the poor suffer. You could make the wealthy suffer. And different systems are always possible. And that really, I think, rattles the wealthy. They know how precarious their position is. They know that they are turtles on posts with no reason to be in charge. What is more, logically, it would make far more sense to tax them and tax them hard in order to create value and pain in the system. And the answer to that they have of the poor then is fear. And why do they hate the poor so very much? It is because they are scared, not of the guillotine, but of being charlatans or becoming victims of tax that is designed to create value for their suffering and not from the poor's suffering. The hatred then is based on simple survival, on ensuring that it is the poor that feel the pain and not the wealthy. And this matters, because it is how, in the end, we allow our society to be defined. Marx endlessly reminds you, but so does Keynes, there are other ways you can do it. You really don't have to endlessly hurt those who have least. Other systems are available, if only you have the courage to look and the commitment to find them. There are always other answers. And for me, in these days where hatred of the poor is just so normal, that is a message we cannot reiterate too often.